Finally, Europe is back on the agenda, and with a vengeance. The signing of the Lisbon Treaty by the Czech president, well, that started a sequence, didn't it, of events that has seen the Conservative leader David Cameron breaking his cast iron pledge to hold a referendum on the treaty. 2 Tory MEPs quitting their front bench jobs in protest, and a French minister wading into the row. What are we to make of it all? And is it detracting from the big changes that the treaty introduces? Well, I'm joined by 2 Welsh MEPs, UKIP's John Bufton and the Conservative Kay Swinburne. Thank you both very much for joining me this evening. Really, we have to start with you, Kay Swinburne. And how do you feel now that your leader and your party has jettisoned that referendum that you had promised that was a cast iron pledge?
Actually, his pledge was that he would actually pledge a referendum for as long as the Lisbon Treaty had not been fully ratified by all 27 nation states.
Well, it wasn't
now
as
that
clear
that
as
has
that
happened,
at the beginning, though, was it?
To be fair, it has been certainly for the last 6 months, and throughout my entire campaign for the European elections, that was exactly what we were saying. And now that that has happened, and that was obviously out of our control, we would have loved to have had a general election before that took place. It hasn't. We've now come out with the crystal clear, this is what we're going to do.
Are you disappointed that there won't be a referendum, personally, regardless of whether it's the right policy now?
I think I'm very disappointed that all the political parties mainstream in the UK promised a referendum. We haven't had one. I think we deserve to have one. The fact that we're not going to have one because everyone else has ratified it, for me, my anger is certainly at Gordon Brown and certainly isn't at my own party leader.
John Bufton, you were shaking your head there. Yeah. You're not convinced?
Quite. No, not at all, actually, because David Cameron, basically, his first test now, there's a chance that he's going to be the next Prime Minister of the country. His first real test of, has he got any bottle? And he's bottled it, because he had a chance to come out and say yes, he would give a referendum. He's failed. He's failed not only the people of Wales and the UK, but he's failed his own party as well, because there are divisions in the Conservative Party. Kay is a good person. I'm afraid David Cameron is good for nothing, because if he can't make his mind up on such an issue like this, he could have gone to the country with a referendum. He's denied us the vote.
What is the point of going to the country with a referendum on something that has been decided? That's a waste of time, money, effort.
It was promised, because as Kay mentioned, in the manifestos of 2005, all the main parties promised it, and they've all reneged. David Cameron was the last person. This situation that he was in about won't let matters rest, well, people were thinking, well, he'll come up with something. He's come up with nothing.
But he has.
We're handing great swathes of power over now, and I'm sorry to go on, but we are great swathes of sovereignty going over to Brussels. We're going to have a situation where we're going to have the framework in there for a European superstate. There'll be a president. This quite likely be Tony Blair. We're going to have a foreign minister and a whole diplomatic service. So the situation of the United States for Europe is being set up.
You're rushing ahead to other issues there, but Kay Swinburne, put the case then to John Bufton and people like him who might have voted Conservative and they may be considering voting for John's party now.
Well, the difficulty I have is that the Conservative Party are not in power. They have no ability to do anything and haven't had for the last few years. As we all know, it's the Labour government who are in power. They had it within their mandate and within their remit to do something. So we are stuck. But what we have come out with is, I think, a sensible proposal that we will amend the European Communities Act and that we will try and renegotiate our position in Europe.
Just one point on that, because we'll have a general election very quickly. Before next June. There's only one party now, it's the UK Independence Party, that'll offer a referendum, and that's clear.
One more question on this, Kay Swinburne. How could anyone trust David Cameron again from any cast iron pledges that he issues in the future?
I have to say, I think the real issue here is that the pledge was made by Gordon Brown and Tony Blair. They actually were the ones who actually reneged on this. We're not in power yet, but what we've done is actually set forward a way that we can see going forwards and that we can actually work within Europe and actually renegotiate our position. We've given up a $7 billion rebate during this term. We need to renegotiate and get our strength back in Europe.
Well, let's leave the question of the referendum. And you're talking about the new Europe. You already started alluding to that, John Bufton. This new Europe is now becoming a reality. This is something that you have to deal with. As a party, that is a contradiction for you because you are opposed to it all, and yet you're working with it. How do you square that circle?
Well, basically, we have to be in there to come back to report to good people like yourself of what's going on there. The situation over the Lisbon Treaty has been a complete farce. The Irish people had a vote the first time round. That wasn't good enough for the European elite, so they come back again. It's becoming like a dictatorship. So we are there basically to bring back the message of what's going on. But we've got a situation now with this treaty that it will mean that 40 areas of our veto will be lost. So, you know, the British people have not had a say. They were promised in this. So at the end of the day, you know, we've been talking about this for a long time. we will take a lot of votes in the general election because people out there are not happy. 75% of our laws are made in Brussels.
And Kay Swinburne, is the fact that a lot of your supporters are considering shifting to UKIP?
I don't think so, and certainly when we topped the polls in Wales in June, I think that was a message that they're very comfortable with David Cameron's leadership. They're very comfortable with the fact that he actually has a pragmatic way forwards.
But they thought at the time, and to be fair to Kay, they thought at the time that they were going to have a promise from David Cameron about this cast-iron guarantee. That's gone now, it's melted away.
A poll out tonight shows that the Conservatives are up an extra point after people had heard that David Cameron had changed his policy, so that's not encouraging.
No, I think when you see the weeks going up to the general election, our position will be very clear, Adrian, and I can see us taking a lot of votes in Wales and the rest of the UK.
Quick question to you, John Bufton. We haven't got much time now, and that is your party is going through a time of change, a new leader on the horizon. You've had, as a party, you've had an awful lot of problems today with one of your ex-MEPs. Can you get over that and win people?
Sure, of course we can. We're a small party, but we're growing. But we're speaking for the people, and we've got a campaign now for a new leader. That campaign is going very well, and we'll have a new leader in place. But Nigel Farage is not going anywhere. He's still our leader in Europe.
Time has beaten us. Thank you both very much.